personally, I think that Antonio Brown's statement that he released yesterday, I think it changes absolutely everything, because I think that what that statement does, it was a detailed statement that him and his team put together, and there was some interesting claims in there about his communication with the team, about his communication with the coach, about how he was still thankful to his teammates and his brothers and the fans, and how he was trying to work through this injury, and he was giving some insight into his rehab, and into what the training staff did to try to keep him on the field to be able to compete even and play through the pain. I think that if anything, at the least, him releasing that statement, it opens up the door of opportunity for him to potentially get back into the NFL this offseason. He won't be playing for Tampa Bay. We get that because they released him. But with him and his team coming together to release that particular statement, I think it opens up the door of opportunity for him to have another shot to get back into the league, because he can still produce at a high level. And he's coming off of having won a Super Bowl last year. So I think that's what the statement did at the very least. But what's interesting right now is you have this, it's almost like hearsay now. You have his word against the coach's word, and his word against the organization's word at this particular point, because Tom Brady's not speaking on it. I haven't really heard any other teammate speak on the issue. And I understand it. They're trying to compete for another title. So they're leaving that to, they're probably having private communication with AB, and they're leaving that to the coach and staff and the management and Antonio Brown and his team. But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because AB's history, now it seems like the history has come back into play. His history versus the history of the Tampa Bay organization and the history of Coach BA. A lot of people are saying about the coach a lot of positive things about him. Oh, he's highly respected around the league. He's the perfect players coach. He's for the players. As if it's a joy to play for this particular coach. Whereas with AB, let's say everything in his statement is true about what went down, and the coach coming to him after him refusing to go back in the game because of his ankle, and the coach saying, well, you know what, you're done. Get the F out of here, because essentially the coach even said that on national television today. He said that he had no shame in his game in saying that that's what he said to AB after he realized he wasn't going to be coming back into the game, after he refused to come back on the field. So it's unfortunate because it's becoming like you're going to look at the history of both parties here. And with AB, because of how things ended in Pittsburgh, because of how things ended in that little short stint in Oakland with the Raiders, and because of how things ended with New England, and then now how things have ended with Tampa Bay after just being with them for not even a full 2 seasons, right? Well, basically, you can essentially say 2 seasons. Because of all of that, and because of the fake vaccination card incident and everything like that, it's just people are not giving him the benefit of the doubt. Whereas with me, I understand that, right? I understand looking at the history, but at the same time, I've always felt that the court of public opinion is very dangerous, and it's become, it's become too strong. Where the things that he outlined in that statement, once I really looked back on Sunday and what happened on that sideline, and him remaining in New York, but basically, leaving the field, leaving his jersey, his shoulder pads on the field, and just pretty much saying, chucking up the deuces to those New York fans and some of his Tampa Bay fans that were sprinkled in. It makes a little bit more. It makes not a little bit more sense. It makes a lot of sense now as to why he might have reacted that way after looking at the specifics of his statement. And see, here's my issue. Tampa Bay, they're gonna go and release their statement about to make sure that they let the public know that they have a great training staff, a great medical staff that in the health and safety of their players is top priority. So they're gonna do their job with that in response to what AB and his team put out. But I still don't care for the way the coach is kind of handling the situation. He was very vague last Sunday about the whole thing. I asked him to go in the game. He refused a couple times, and then all of a sudden, that was it. I see him leaving. That's, to paraphrase, that's kind of what he was saying on Sunday. Whereas now, because AB has released some text message communication between the two, he was still vague, but he gave you a little bit more. Then he goes into, he wasn't happy about the lack of targets in the first half. So he was heated during halftime, and his his teammates had to calm down. He still carried some of that energy onto the field in the third quarter. And then I see, we call him to come back into the game. I see him waving off a coach. I go back there to see what's going on. He says, I'm done. I'm not playing. I say, well, you're done then. Get the F out of here. Still very vague, and very favorable towards him. So I still don't like that part of it, right? I still don't like that part of it. And I think that, and he's even saying, I just want this to be, he's saying in the press today, I want this to be done today. And it's not going to be done. It's not going to be done because I think that based on what was outlined in Antonio Brown's statement, now, even though he's now been released, I think that the things that he outlined and claimed and the receipts that he's bringing to the table now, even though I'm not the biggest fan of just putting out screenshots of private communication, but the receipts that he's putting out there because he feels like he has to now defend himself, I think that it's going to cause some issues for Tampa Bay, and it's not going to just end this week. I think that Tampa Bay is going to have to really answer some questions. I think the coach is going to have to answer some questions, management. I think that they're going to be their hand is going to be forced to have to now really respond to this as the weeks go on. And it could mean, AB is going after some more money. We know that some incentives were on the horizon for him. And honestly, that's another thing. This is why I said I don't like people being vague, not telling the whole story, and not giving context. Because even what Coach BA said about, AB was irritated and things got heated in the locker room during halftime. He wasn't happy. Well, let's give the full context to it. If this man is very close to hitting a certain benchmark to get his incentives, but he's out in that field and he feels like, okay, why was I targeted only a couple of times in the first half? Then he has every right to feel away. Now, Tom Brady is trying, he's trying to get his incentives at the end of the regular season. You got other players out there on both offense and defense. I was watching SportsCenter today. They went through a whole list of guys that are trying to, that this next game will mean everything in terms of them getting, an additional $1 million, additional $1.5 million, additional $2 or $2.5 million, right? And see, that's the thing. I was telling my pops this, co-host of our show, Like Father, Like Son. I was telling him earlier today, one thing that bothers me is when you're looking at professional sports, come on, man. When you're looking at professional sports, we can't sit here and act like it's as simple as, hey, you come out here, you're out here for your, for your brothers, or, in case of women, you're out here for your sisters, and you're supposed to just at all costs come out here and just put everything on the line and compete for the fans, compete for your teammates, compete for your coach. That sounds great in high school and college when money's not really involved, even though people beg to differ with the NCAA. But with professional sports, and we're talking about incentives, I might have the intentions of coming out here, like AB even said to the coach, hey, I want to be there. My intention is to wake up in the morning, and if I can go, I'm gonna give it my all for my brothers. But it's at what point, at what point do you say, okay, I'm out here putting it on the line for my brothers. I don't feel like the organization or the coaching staff is handling me or treating me correctly in this situation. And at the same time, I'm thinking about in the front of my mind, my money, because there's not a lot of guaranteed money in football. It's not like he's on a long-term deal it's not like he was on a long-term deal with Tampa Bay. So incentives are important. So this is also a business. So yes, you're going to have in the front of your mind while you're playing, okay, I need to hit this benchmark. Why did Tom Brady pass me the ball 15 times last week, but I only have 2 or 3 receptions this week? We got to give full context here. Andre Iguodala said it best when he stepped away from the game for a little bit. He said it best. When he was on Philly, it wasn't as simple as just going out there and playing. Guess what? Your agent is telling you, hey, if you average, 5 additional points in the second half of this season, it could mean this for you financially. It could mean this for you contractually. That's something that these men and women have to think about when they are competing at this level. Let's stop acting like professional sports is not also a business. Gotta provide full context. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But one thing is for sure, this situation is far from over. And I know that Coach BA in Tampa Bay wants it to be a done deal. It's not. It's far from over. I know they got to still compete and try to run this thing back. But I think you're gonna see this spill into the offseason. So we'll just have to wait and see.